Okay, so it is 10:30, you guys. I think we're gonna start off with the meeting. Um, could someone just make sure to let me know that y'all can see my screen for the agenda?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So, a quick introduction. My name is Erin Alford. I am the new LTPT coordinator for the Office of Broadband here at Florida Commerce. This is my first meeting, so I'm really excited to meet everybody via online. Um, but um, but if y'all ever need help or just have a question about the office, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me as well. Um, so I think just an overview of what we'll be going over today. LTPT technical assistant visits that Sean and I can help y'all with. Um, expenditure guidance, the challenge process workshop, eh, what the LTPT involvement will be with broadband providers in the BEAD programs, broadband program status. Sean will be talking about the second annual broadband summit and then try to get any reports from y'all so that we can be aware about what's going on in each county. So, to further go along the agenda regarding the LTPT technical visits, if y'all ever would like Sean and I or anyone else from our office to come see y'all, we're definitely willing to make that drive and that kind of commitment to come see y'all because we want to help everyone as much as we can. But whenever y'all reach out to us about that, if y'all could give us a pretty good, I would say 2 week notice before the meeting, just because we have to be very transparent with our leadership about where we're going, why we're going. So it takes kind of a long process to get all of that approved. But if y'all ever need help with that, or would like us to come visit, please let us know. We would really like the opportunity to come see what y'all are working on in y'all's counties. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, take that as a no. So the next thing I will be sharing with y'all is the LTPT expenditure guide. Okay, so this guide is to help y'all get a better understanding of what y'all can purchase and what is not allowed to be purchased with the money that is given to LTPTs. I think Sean and I have talked about it, and y'all are given $1,000 a month, I'm pretty sure. But really, just this overview really explains like the necessary funds that y'all are given and what it's allowed to go towards, what it isn't allowed to go towards. And a really big thing that we would like to be transparent about is that whenever y'all are trying to purchase marketing materials, office supplies, reaching out to a consultant, please reach out to our office first. It's very important that we are notified that y'all are making these purchases. That's another kind of policy that we're going with is that it has to be approved by us, but then also if y'all are ordering marketing or office supplies, we'll make the order and make sure that it is shipped to y'all as well. To further go over the guide, we will have a conflict of interest just to make sure that everything is efficient and transparent between, state and county, making sure that none of us get in trouble. So that's very important to kind of go over and look at. And then My Florida Marketplace. So that will be used whenever if y'all would like to work with a consultant to I have the website and information on how to create an account if y'all already don't. But that is used for basically like approved organizations or companies that are allowed to work with Florida counties or state the Office of Broadband. So please make sure if y'all are going to work with a consultant to go through My Florida Marketplace as well. So this is also just an overview of, the state financial assistance that we're giving to LTPTs, um, agreement for the services and vendors. And then this is obviously the big part of the whole document, the expenditures for state funds. So these are authorized by law, and expenditures must meet the intent, the spirit of the law authorizing the payment. Expenditures from state funds for the items listed below are allowed for purchase. So um, office supplies, printing, project supplies. Y'all can see that I have, the really important things folded in there. So whenever y'all make this kind of request, please make sure it is through Office Depot, just because we have um, an account with them. So then it's easier for us to, if you want to say, hey, I need this many things of um, paper, then we'll go to our Office Depot account, make that order, and send it to y'all. Consulting, like I mentioned before, that has to be through My Florida Marketplace. If y'all have any questions or concerns about that, please reach out to me and we can help y'all through that process as well. And then obviously one of the biggest things is the digital literacy training, digital navigators, and device ownership and rental programs. So with this kind of service, we would like y'all to give us 3 given quotes about what y'all would like to provide to your citizens. And then from the organizations that can provide these products and services, as us as an agency, will work together with y'all as well on deciding what will be the best fit for your county. And then marketing materials, kind of the same thing. 3 given quotes from the organization that will provide it. Please note that when you make these marketing materials, they have to be broadband affiliated. It can't just be, um, DeSoto County, just regular kind of marketing materials. It has to be broadband affiliated, please. And then prohibited state funds. The money that is given to y'all, it will not cost traveling, hotels, rental cars, car mileage, flowers, any telegraphic condolences, refreshments of any kind, like lunch, dinners, breakfast that the office might be holding. We will not cover that. And then also decorative items that might be used for the office. And then lastly, greeting cards of anything, and then also any furniture you might want to use for your office, that money cannot be put towards that as well. Um, so does anyone have any questions about that document? And I know Sean just commented or put in the chat that we will make sure to send this to y'all after the meeting. And if y'all want to talk to us one-on-one about any questions that you might have, I totally understand that as well.
Absolutely. And I would also like to add, just so we're clear, for any kind of marketing materials, it will need to come through our agency and be run through our communications department here at the agency to make sure that it is consistent with agency standards. So if you are planning on doing any kind of marketing materials for your LTBTs, please get with us with your ideas about what you'd like to get produced so that we can help you prepare that, get the verbiage and the graphics and everything approved so that we can make the purchases for you. And that's the other thing I want to make sure that we're clear about too. Um, Even with the Office Depot purchases, we would be making those purchases on your behalf. So you don't have to worry about making the purchases yourselves. We're taking on the responsibility for actually making all the purchases for you. That's being done for a number of different reasons. Just to facilitate the ease of the LTPTs because they all operate differently and they're all led by different individuals. Some are led by local government staff. Some are led by private. So there's not a standard leadership model. So we're taking on that responsibility and that burden to handle that administrative function for you. But yes, please just get with us on anything that you'd like to purchase or procure, and we'll walk you through it and hold your hand through that whole process.
Thank you, Sean. That was
Mhm.
helpful. I think overall, so that's kind of the quick explanation of this document. Like I said, if y'all have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me or Sean, and we can set up a quick Zoom Teams call and help explain anything more that y'all might be confused or have any concerns about. So with that, I will share the agenda again, and Sean will take over and talk about the challenge process workshops.
Absolutely. Good morning again, everybody. We have been talking about the upcoming challenge process series. We were planning on doing a series of 5 challenge workshops to help folks understand what's involved in that process from the very beginning right through to the end, talking about who can participate in that process and at what levels. I will be kind of combining these 2 agenda items because they all kind of bleed into one another. The workshops we were planning on doing the end of this month, but the the timing on that has had to change because we cannot begin that process until our BEAD Volume 1 is approved by the NTIA. We are still working with the NTIA on curing volumes 1 and 2 of our initial proposal. So that kind of moves our schedule a little bit along. We're tentatively now looking at the end of April, but we will make sure that everybody stays abreast of what that schedule will be. We will also be holding a webinar which will be recorded. That way, folks who are unable to attend those workshops in person will have the benefit of a fully recorded session. You will have the full content on a recording along with all of the materials that go along with that. So we will make sure that everybody gets all that information. I will also take this opportunity to remind everybody if you are not signed up for the updates uh, on our broadband website, please make sure that you go to our office website. At the very top of the page, there is a button that says subscribe for updates. Please make sure that your team leaders, your alternates, and everybody who is on your LTPTs is registered there to make sure that you are getting all of our notifications, to make sure that you're not missing anything. Super, super important. Um, how LTPTs are going to be involved with the BEAD process. The LTPTs, as you've seen through all of the existing programs that we've had run out of the office, the LTPTs are going to be vital in working with the ISPs in preparing their proposals for application for the BEAD program. Um, that means that the LTPTs really need to be really engaged with the ISP, specifically when we're talking about challenges, because all of that is going to affect how what areas will be eligible for BEAD funding. We need to make sure that the ISPs and the LTPTs are working really closely together to make sure that any areas that are showing as served truly are served. We want to make sure that if there are areas that are not being served, that are showing as served, get corrected so that we have the ability to fund those locations. That is really, really vital to the success of the LTPTs, the ISPs, and the state. It is really, really, really vital. So the LTPTs, your job is not done. Neither is ours. So we are really looking to you to continue being really vigilant in working with your community members and your community contacts to kind of beat the bushes and make sure that people know about this opportunity, to check to make sure that their areas are showing correctly. That is really going to impact how this deployment goes. So that is how those teams are going to be involved in BEAD. Um, you will also be involved in all of our digital adoption work. So please make sure that your teams really stay engaged, that they don't lose focus. We have found that the teams who are most successful are the ones who really meet regularly, because we find that when teams don't meet regularly, the participation starts to lag, and when that happens, you lose a lot of momentum. The teams who are really meeting regularly and have active, engaged members are really knocking it out of the park, and we're really excited and proud of those folks. As Aaron was saying earlier, if you need us to come and visit with you, help to work with your teams, and even to present to your teams on specific things, please reach out to Aaron. We will be happy to come down and visit with you, help facilitate those meetings, answer questions from your teams, and anyone from the public who is interested as well. We are only as good as you make us by utilizing us. So we want to make sure that we are giving you all that you need and supporting you. I see a question here. Are there any ideas dealing with the RDOF? Ah, that the question is about how we're going to deal with the RDOF areas. We are still restricted by those RDOF areas. We for for folks who may not be familiar with it, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund has committed areas that we cannot put our funding in. The timeline for those projects is much longer than the timeline for the BEAD program, which means that those areas will stay committed long after our BEAD program has been completed. Our concern is that there may be RDOF areas that end up going into default, and that those areas may not end up getting served. That is a great concern of our office. To that end, we have been talking with the ISPs about their progress on those projects, to hopefully spur some expedited activity on those projects, to make sure that scenario does not play out the way we fear. So that's the short and long answer on that. Will the challenge process be at the household level? It absolutely can be, but individual households are not able to submit challenges. That's where the LTPTs can come in. The LTPTs can help to aggregate some of those challenge locations, and work with the local government or area nonprofits, because those are the entities who are eligible to submit challenges. So if Mrs. Jones finds that her location is inaccurately reported, she can report that to the local government or to the LTPT, and the LTPT can share that with the local government to submit that challenge request. Can you provide a list of those counties that you believe? Sure, absolutely. We have also found that this group has been really fantastic about being willing to mentor one another. We've had offers from Polk County, from Miami-Dade County, from several. So yes, I'll be happy to provide a list of counties who have been willing to offer some support. I think that's a great question and a great suggestion. Let's see, we got some other stuff coming in here. Thank you, Guido. Guido's got a comment in here. And the link, thank you. Thank you, Guido. Public comment period. March 26th. Great, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Miami-Dade County. Thank you, Erica. That team is an example of folks who really have brought the whole community in. Erica, would you like to unmute yourself and talk a little bit about how you've engaged the foundation and the community?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a great start. Well, almost close to your weekend. So I just wanted to just hop in here. I gotta be short because I have another meeting that I have to hop off to. But I would just tell you the the way that we are able to run so efficiently is that we really engage with our community. So we have a partnership with Miami Foundation, and they are a nonprofit that work with a whole bunch of other nonprofit organizations. So they actually help us get into the community and find out what are the most important needs that we need to meet in the community. Um, we help a lot with in Miami-Dade County. We have a lot of diverse communities in Miami-Dade. So what we do is we just make sure that we know the area. We know what our community needs, what they want from us, and we make sure that we bring it to them. So for example, we just had a digital inclusion event. It was the first that we are going to have of the many for this upcoming year, and we had over 300 residents in a heavily prevalent Haitian community. We provided them with wraparound services. We worked with Career Source to create a bus that'll have wraparound services for workforce and digital inclusion. We also partnered with Comcast so that we can provide laptops and food and beverages, and it's been incredible to see what our community can do. But I would just say, make sure that you speak to your the community leaders, your ISPs, your partners. They're here for you. That's going to be the best way that you can get the most reach. Without them, Miami-Dade County is nothing. So that's why we rely heavily on them. If anybody wants to see what we've done, I dropped my email on here, and you can go ahead and give me either, send me an email. I'll drop my phone number as well. You can call me, and we can brainstorm and see what we think might benefit you guys in your organization.
Thank you. And David Palmer with Polk County, would you like to also share?
I always like to share, you know me, Sean, so thank you. I reiterate what our friends down in Miami-Dade said, Erica. We've engaged the providers, we're engaging the community, we're doing community outreach, starting the end of this month, going through. So we've done a number of things to make sure that all sectors of our population are being addressed. Up to and including the businesses. We want to make sure that all voices are heard. So it's been a fun and exciting journey, and we're always happy to have individuals attend our meetings. And if there's anything at all that we can do to help, we're always happy to do so. So thank you, Sean.
Thank you. We really do have some great team leaders who are really. Kyle Holly is another one with Santa Rosa. Kyle, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sean.
Yeah, would you like to share about how you engage your community?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Can you hear me okay? Maybe I should shut my door for a second.
No, you're perfectly clear.
All right, that's great. So, in addition to reaching out to um, critical touch points like in rural communities, our feed stores, any of our, agricultural base. We're very seasonal about how we're communicating. So right now people have cabin fever, they're getting to their Tractor Supplies, they're getting to their Lowe's places to start planting. So we're kind of engaging those folks there. We have always spent time kind of educating the folks who work in those places so that they can extend the conversation. But that's just that human element. We've had tremendous success by utilizing radio. The radio talk shows will have you go on there for free, and they're looking for great content. This is a very popular subject matter. And so we're just on the radio asking people to call in when they feel like they're in an area that's underserved or maybe unserved. And so that's really been how we get leads into neighborhoods. And then I'm able to get out there and, meet with residents and sort of build up, I don't know, I guess I'd say ambassadors right on that street level. And then they then go out and try to help their neighbors, which ultimately is helping us reach the people we need to find.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kyle. These are just three of the counties who are really just knocking it out of the park, just fully engaging their communities. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And with that, I'd like to move on to a status on our programs on Broadband Opportunity Program and the Broadband Infrastructure Program under Capital Projects Fund. Those agreements are being executed. We're working on those. On Multipurpose Community Facilities Program, we're getting scopes of work on all of those applicants who were awarded. On the Digital Connectivity Technology Program, that's the one for the devices. Those applications are currently under review. We hope to get some good news out to folks very soon, but they are still currently under review. For the BEAD program, like I mentioned earlier, volumes 1 and 2 of our initial proposal are still in curing. We're going back and forth with NTIA. So once we get the approval on volume 1, it will kick off our broadband challenge process. So be looking for all of that to be rolling out very, very shortly. Next, I'd like to put on everyone's radar for folks who were not able to participate last year. I really, really hope that we get full participation with the Broadband Summit, the annual Broadband Summit. We are looking to do it again in September of this year. It will most likely be in the Orlando area again to accommodate the kind of crowd that we expect. Last year, I think we had 300 people show up for the summit, and it was fantastic. This year, we are in a different place. We have the benefit of having programs rolled out under our belt and things kind of in process. So it's going to be very different content this year. If there are things that you would be interested in seeing covered during that summit, things highlighted, things that are important to your communities, challenges and things that you might be facing, please reach out to us. Also, if you have folks who you think might be good folks to add to the conversations, folks who should really be there, please reach out to Erin and I and let us know about those as well. What we did last year is we paid for one person from each LTPT to attend. So be looking for that again. And I'll turn it back over to Erin.
Okay, so the next thing to go over is that we would like to hear from y'all and see if y'all have any reports or updates you can give us, and see if Sean and I can help and answer any questions that y'all have for us.
We'd really like to also hear if you have successes, exciting things that are going on in your communities that your teams would like to share. Now is a great time.
Hi, Sean, Aaron. This is Simone with Orange County. Can
Go
you guys
right
hear me
ahead. Good
okay?
morning, Simone. Yeah,
Good morning.
you
Thanks for
sound
this
great.
wonderful update. We have a couple of things that I'm excited to share, and a couple of things since you guys sharing the document that I really need to read and absorb and then reach out to you guys about. So Eris Michelle is sharing her face. She is with Eris Foundation, one of our very important nonprofits that's working with Orange County government to really bridge the gap around the second phase of our broadband digital equity services for all program. And they're working with us to really deep dive into some of our nonprofit needs that have been mentioned today. And, organizations like healthcare, Shepherd's Hope, Grace Medical, our family services and offerings that are implemented through Orange County to really do a device loaner program. So the demand and the capture for that has been significant. So we're hoping that this really expands with some of the state dollars, the federal dollars, sorry. And then another one that I would like to reach out to you guys, but to also share is we did create another wraparound service with the idea of the first phase providing high-speed internet, the second phase devices, and the third we expect beyond questions around how to hook up routers, which we're also engaging our ISP, is that advanced level, sort of digital navigator, boots on the ground, probably even in-home services that we're looking to partner right now with our universities, UCF, and I'm going to talk to you guys about what that should look like to really provide those critical, technical, more advanced type service to our residents in need. So we have a really good structure, I think, in place to provide that overall service. But I really liked what I heard from, I think it was it Santa Rosa that said they were really getting into the weeds and going into some of these neighborhoods, doing deep dive questions. What did that look like in terms of bringing the awareness or, I think Polk also mentioned getting into on the radio, getting some airtime, right, to bring the awareness. How can you guys speak to that? What was the traction beyond the focus of in-room services through meetings? Like what drove that, and can you guys speak to the success story? And because I'd really like our LTPT to start looking into some of those options as well.
It's Kyle Holly here in Santa Rosa County. So I think I made the comments about radio. I think I would just say this, in our county, our administrators chose to ask me as a person with experience in outreach and community development to lead the project versus asking maybe say an IT type department that usually is focused on working internally. So we just really, I guess what drove it is we knew that it had to be outreach, and we thought, well, we can't use the internet to find people who don't have the internet, so let's get on the radio and just really shout out to people. And so we knew that radio is really, it would hit all of our senior citizens. We reached out to our faith-based organizations. There are some monthly meetings, I guess, from the pastors in each area of our county. So we really targeted the seniors first and used radio to try to get them engaged, really. And so then once we got people talking in their communities like that, then the phones started to ring. And then, we would frankly solicit an invitation to go out to a street or to a neighborhood. And then once we had that contact and showed that we cared, then what we found is that the citizens were like, oh my gosh, this is a campaign that's really going to work. And this local representative of local government is really going to listen to me, and so I think that was just it, showing I think it's critical that we show the state of Florida, you know, as a network of local technology planning teams, that this is very real. And so if any of you have not engaged with the Office of Broadband, the staff, you can see how personable and professional they all are on these calls. But, you know, this is just maybe in my mind, a chance to really show an exceptional level of service from our state government through our local governments. In my 25 years of community development, I've never seen such cohesiveness and clear communication. So I guess at the local level, we're trying to driving it from an outreach perspective, but there's also a driving force inside the office there. So maybe that helps you a little.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle, it's
thank you.
Michelle from Eris. I love, to Simone's point, I love the radio. Can you share with me kind of what that script and what you shared with everyone? Because like I said, I love that medium that, you know, we get on the radio. Because the other piece is we did a really nice one pager as far as the programs. And then I definitely would like to throw it out there to everyone. The great idea from Simone and her team is we're actually translating it in Spanish as well. Are there any of the local groups that have done that? I mean, the other thing we might consider is doing it in Creole, but love to do some best practice sharing if you've done any type of social media where you've had it translated.
I'll just try to quickly comment. We are engaging now our non-English speaking populations by going through the faith-based organizations that way too. That's an area where I'm still really working. In terms of the radio, again, we just reached out to the talk radio shows. And so of course they wanted us to get on there, and we explained that there was a good amount of money, that we needed the, you know, ISPs to engage with us. And then I just got on the radio and started begging, I want you to call me. And so that's exactly how it was. And then we just fielded all of those incoming phone calls back at the office, of course, and, you know, and extended the conversation and really helped them to have that baseline. So we were not scripted. The best talk radio is just really when the question and answering is coming back and forth from the, you know, the interviewer and the respondent. So I just made sure that I knew what the Office of Broadband, you know, was saying, and just, you know, practice the language myself so I wouldn't get caught off guard. But that was really it. I just begged people. I begged them to call me. If you're in such and such an area, I had these hypotheses, these little gap areas, you know, I just begged my community to call me, and they did.
Awesome.
Well, everyone always does what Kyle asks.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. You know, I think engaging the nonprofits, like you have said, could, you know, if I were in a larger county, I would have to engage my other nonprofits in the way that I think Orange County is too as well, through that foundation that is really a consolidated, you know, conversation for those people. Or your local United Ways should be convening nonprofits like that too as well. And so if I were in a larger county, I would have to engage those people, you know, in a more real way to extend the reach. So I think if anybody could comment more on that, I think it would be helpful to the teams. We were small enough that I could just get out onto, you know, through the feed stores like I mentioned, but I think for a county that's a little bit larger, maybe that nonprofit network, someone should speak to that a little more.
David, can Poke Vision speak to that?
So I'll try again there. Our local United Way is beginning to engage with us now. They've been focused on campaigning and wanted to see a certain amount of successes. And so now that some of the programming grants have been awarded, now there's this extra level of synergy. So for anybody who has not engaged, now is a really great time to engage. So because we were able to demonstrate that money is moving around, or contracts are curing, you know, and so that this has become very real. In the beginning, some people just thought it maybe wasn't going to be that real, but it certainly has become that very quickly.
And my apologies, Sean. Very rarely does this occur, but I've had a parade, so in and out of my office. And I caught that there was a question for me, and I missed it. I am so apologetic. I'm so sorry.
Would you repeat your question?
Oh, well, Sean, okay, so Sean was really trying to ask the question about a comment that I made. And so I'm in a county with around 200,000 people, and I was making the point that if I were in a larger county, I would really have to engage the nonprofits, you know, at a higher level, you know, so almost, you know, really making a sub working group within the LTPT for just those nonprofits. And so I just was suggesting that someone in a larger county comment on how you've done that. And I think Orange County has done that through its foundation. I think there's a community-based foundation possibly. So we just wanted to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And go ahead. I'm sorry, Erica.
No, it's Michelle from the Eris Foundation. I'll kind of piggyback on what Kyle said. So obviously Orange County is quite large. So what we are doing is we do have all the pillars identified, you know, whether it be telehealth, seniors, etc. And all the nonprofits are in those pillars. And that's why I was saying we have a kind of a communication document that's going to go out in addition to a survey. So we have one-to-one relationships with all the nonprofits, but I'm going to go to a Grace Medical and say, you know, how many of your constituents are going to use what type of devices and what wraparound services do you need? So we are going to make it to your point, Kyle. We're going to go to each of the nonprofits. We're going to see what constituents they serve. And then we're going to see what type of infrastructure they need so we can come back and report on the impact. But I do think it's not a one size fits all, like you said. And so that's why I did like your radio piece. So we are going to do that survey and kind of, you know, have it for almost the, you know, the ticket of what they're going to need. So I love that perspective. And you're right, you have to do it because all the nonprofits are different and what they need is different.
Absolutely. David?
Sure. We are also fortunate in Polk County as a fairly large geographic as well as population county of having a group that's referred to, and I now remember what you were talking about, Sean, was Polk Vision. Polk Vision is a consortium of basically a cross section of all of Polk County, including the ISPs, including the healthcare, including education, both higher education, as well as the K-8 or K-12. And we have been very fortunate to be able to leverage being able to go to that group and address those individuals as well, so that we've been able to speak to and address, as an example, a literacy summit, where we pulled in, it included the library cooperative, all the educators, as well as resource centers to help leverage and get the word out on what are the locations that are in need, both from a connectivity standpoint as well as like the Capital Funds Project. And then we've been able to leverage those to come up with what are the specific mechanisms they need to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. Where we've done grant workshops, we're working on the challenge process. And as an example, our next big iteration is the community outreach, where we're going specifically to those underserved and really challenged communities to get the word out. We, as part of our ARPA funding, we paid for and developed a basically an educational bus that can go around and be leveraged. You know, it's always fun to hear the like the FCC broadband map. Yeah, the challenge process is you have to go online and challenge it. So we've got this vehicle that we have that's connected, and people can come on there and actually do the challenge process. So it's been a big blessing for us to have a group such as Polk Vision to really leverage all the way across. So finding those partnerships and being able to leverage them have been key for us.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. I see Sarah Newell has a hand raised. Sarah? Sarah, did you want to share something? Okay, we can come back. maybe she's having trouble with her audio. I did want to have Erin address the ACP question that was posed.
Yes. So Sam, we saw your question regarding ACP. This week, Sean actually had me doing some research on that. And from my understanding, that program, there is no, it looks like it'll not be continued. The ACP Extension Act was introduced in the House and the Senate on January 10th. It has been sent to both Senate and House appropriations committees, and seems like that bill has died in those committees. It has not moved further in any way, shape, or form. In regards to what other states are doing, I have found that it looks like states might be relying on BEAD program funding money to use that kind of money to subsidize for those who will be losing ACP. Um, I think they will cover it till the month of April and then extending it to a very limited time in May. So obviously, millions of Americans will be losing access to internet. But Michigan is a state that I found a lot of information. They have worked with the Alice Project, which is a research foundation that focuses on families who are, I would say, your lower middle class families who are living paycheck to paycheck, who can either have to decide, am I going to pay my internet bill or am I going to buy groceries this month? And from my understanding, Michigan plans on using most of their BEAD money to help subsidize the lack of what ACP could use for um, their citizens in the state. And they are doing it in a very interesting way with the Alice Project. From their data they were able to collect, they will be determining how much internet services can be charged by a region in the state. So let's say region one, for example, from the data was that if your income is $45,000 a year, you will only pay probably around $50 a month for your internet bill, compared to if you make in region two, if you make $50,000 a year, you will pay $60 to $65 a month for your internet. So it's very interesting because they plan on doing it very region wise instead of just almost like a flat rate for the whole state. So it'll be interesting to see how if that works well for that state.
Mhm.
But overall, many states are still very confused on not surely what to do with the cancelization of ACP. So overall, it'll be interesting to see how, what other states try to do to subsidize for ACP ending.
Thank you. And Sam, in the city of Jacksonville, your point is absolutely well taken. ACP is really critical for some of the most sensitive populations that we have. It is really going to be a hit for some of our targeted populations. So that's what made me ask Erin to look into what's happening across the country, because I wanted to kind of get a read on how states are planning on dealing with this. We are restricted here in Florida because legislative mandate is clear that there is no appetite for subsidy here. So we are picking our brains to try to see if there are any other opportunities to do something. But the consideration is even the states who are proposing to use their BEAD funding, that funding itself is also limited. So it will eventually also run out and we'll end up right back where we are right now. So folks really have to be working on some really innovative ideas about creating some evergreen recurring sources of funding that these populations can rely on. So we're going to keep looking at that. What we're able to do is going to be limited due to our authorization, but we're going to be looking at all of that. Also, Sam, you mentioned something that reminded me of something that I wanted to mention on the call. We have mapping resources here that are available to all the LTPTs. Bob Gitson, who is here in our staff, he is our lead. He is our mapping guru, and he's on the call here with us. He's going to put his email into the chat. If any of the teams need any kind of assistance with mapping for your communities, please reach out to Bob. Bob will be happy to provide you the maps that you need, especially with things like the challenge process coming up. He is a fantastic resource to us here, and we want to make sure that you know that you have that resource here available to you as well. So thank you, Sam, for mentioning that. That prompted me to share that with you.
Hi, this is Sarah from St. Johns County. Can y'all hear me now?
Hey, yes, there you are.
Great, thank you. Sorry about that earlier. I wanted to know if anyone has a best practice or an example on how to communicate to those residents who will not be getting broadband. For example, in the latest CPF broadband and also the BOP, we've got a community and the community thinks it's everyone in the community, right? But at some point, one person who considers themselves part of Flagler Estates on the next street also considers them part, but of course is not getting this service. So how are you going about communicating that information in a way that's digestible? So we have the information, thank you so much, from Robert. They got us that information by the household level, but how would you suggest going about communicating that to the community who, you know, once it's the project comes out, they're going to be understandably confused?
Absolutely, absolutely. And these are calls that I handle almost daily. One of the things that I share with those callers, because we understand how frustrating it is to be in a home and to see one of your neighbors being covered, but you're not. One of the things that I share is that we have a silver lining in BEAD. BEAD is really designed to cover those situations where those ones and twos are being left out. So that's always my first answer, that all of the infrastructure funding opportunities are not over. That BEAD is on the horizon, and BEAD is designed to do exactly that. It's to capture those ones and twos who were left out of a proposed project area. That speaks right back to looking at the maps and making sure that that challenge is really that challenge process is really engaged for all of those members in the community. That's where the LTPTs can really lend a hand to those individuals by being a focal point to gather those and share them with the local government who is on your LTPT to submit those challenges. So that's the short answer. Tell them not to lose hope, that there is another even larger funding opportunity on the horizon.
Sean, if I could just for a moment, Sarah,
Sure.
I can address your Flagler Estates issue.
Mhm.
Let me share my screen. And you see a nice little picture with a lot of blue dots on it. Are we seeing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the Flagler Estates area in here, and these blue dots are what are called DSL modifications. What the NTIA is allowing us to do, these blue dots are actually considered served. However, they're served by DSL technology, which comes over copper wire. And there's little or no chance that they're going to get 100/20 service consistently over a copper wire. So we can consider these locations as unserved or underserved, which makes them BEAD eligible. So when the provider comes in, they can service all those blue dots with fiber or whatever they want to use that's going to make the reliable broadband requirement. And while I've got this map up, this is going to be something we're refining this as we speak. This is kind of what we call a density map, and it should be very helpful in the challenge process because you can get down to address level information here. If I click on this little blue dot and I come up here, there's his address. So we can get down to the address level. Now see here, you see it says served, but it's with the DSL technology that it's a legacy technology that NTIA wants replaced. And I think everybody wants copper wire replaced. There's going to be a whole lot of copper in the ground that people can dig up and make a ton of money recycling, I guess. I don't know. But we are going to honor that commitment to serve the DSL modifications. There's about 19,000 in the state, all of which are BEAD eligible, regardless if they've already been covered by a CPF award or a Broadband Opportunity Award. So all of these guys are going to get served. When that's going to happen is up to the providers. But again, this type of map that we have here will help in the challenge process, because the darker areas, as we zoom out, those are census blocks. As we go out a little bit more, there we go. Now we're in block groups, which is oddly enough a group of census blocks, usually 10 or 15 blocks to a group depending on the population. And then we're going to come out here and we're going to get to census tracts, which are a series of a bunch of block groups put together. And then as we zoom out a little bit more, we get into counties. And you can see the darker the coloration in the county, the higher number of BEAD eligible locations there are in that county. And we can go in, let's see if we can find Flagler Estates again. Where are you? There you are. We can see that in this group right here, in that census block, 2053, there are 2 providers. Windstream has 10 locations, of which actually 7 would be BEAD eligible in that. And Verizon, using licensed terrestrial fixed wireless, is only serving 1 location. So we have down to address and provider by blocks and block groups and so on. So this is something we can all use during the challenge process and during the BEAD grant award process to say to the providers, look, here you are, here's our areas of need, which they probably already know. But we would like you to come in and help us serve this area. So, and like
Bob, that is really helpful. I really appreciate that. And that was exactly where I was talking about. For example, that northeast quadrant of Flagler Estates, Windstream received a grant, but obviously, correct, it is not of the level that BEAD would bring them up to. So when the bottom section is getting service, I wanted to be able to communicate to this group. So that's perfect. That helps a lot.
Yeah, and we see that all the time. And keep in mind, this is a living, breathing document. It will change from time to time. As a matter of fact, we're going to go up to version 4 here of the Fabric pretty soon in the latest BDC data, probably for the challenge. BDC is broadband collection data. The providers are required to submit data every 6 months, but they do it more frequently than that. So this, like I said, this is a living, breathing document. And hopefully as these grants are executed and projects are completed, we see some of these blue and yellow and red dots turn into green dots. And that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Bob. Good job. Thank you, Bob. So once again, Bob is a fantastic resource to you. Please reach out to him. He can provide you all kinds of assistance with the maps. Any other questions on that?
Caroline just raised her hand.
Hey,
Caroline, go right ahead.
thanks. I actually just to comment on the same. So in terms of kind of the question that started it with how to explain to someone who's on the edge of a boundary and you know, why they might not be included in a project. Something that's worked for us actually really well is maps. Having maps kind of laid out, especially printed ones for the community, that they can kind of put their hands on, that have overlays with different phases. Even if like a second phase might be a little bit undefined, that includes them with another area. We found that that provides some comfort with knowing that they're still in consideration. It's just we have to take a phased approach. It kind of helps to visualize that they really are just on the boundary of one phase.
Thank you, Caroline.
Pleasure.
Caroline's with the Appalachia Regional Planning Council, and if you don't know, the regional planning councils are a great resource to you all around the state as well. Any other questions on any of that? Getting some good stuff here. All right, turning it back over to Erin.
Okay, so if y'all don't have any more questions or updates, I think we'll adjourn the meeting 30 minutes early. So the next meeting will be on April 18th, 10:30 to 12 like normal. Just an overview. We'll make sure to get this expenditure sheet over to y'all as soon as the meeting ends. And please don't hesitate to reach out if y'all have any questions or concerns in just any way that Sean and I can help y'all through this process. So I hope y'all have a great day and we'll see y'all on the 18th.
Thank you everyone for the participation. Great questions.
Thank you,
you.
Erin and John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.